Daejeop really is home to a lot of Ho-Chunk. Daejeop is 4 lakes. That's Yankita, Nup, Dani, Jop, and Lake is Dae. And we have, for time immemorial, have lived here. We have villages all around all 4 lakes. It's home, to the Ho-Chunk. And there's, like I said, there's villages throughout this region around these 4 lakes. In fact, there's where the University of Wisconsin sits and where the Capitol sits was once a Ho-Chunk village. It's also, I've been told that Daejeop is also a business epicenter. It had been pre-European settlement, was a trade center, so tribes from all over the region and beyond would come to do business and to trade with each other at this location. But Daejeop is also, it houses the most effigy mounds in the entire world, despite the fact that 80% of them were decimated through settlement and development. Different times our populations fluctuated due to war and disease, and we were basically all over East Central Wisconsin. So we took up a lot of area, and so the precise number of Ho-Chunk at any given time could have changed from 5,000 to 15,000. We've endured through a lot of challenges. Whether it was climate earlier on, pre-European settlement, warring with other tribes, disease, and then with the onset of the European settler, then federal policy, there was a lot of challenges that really put us in a position where our way of life was threatened. But through all of those challenges, whether it was federal policy to exterminate, to remove, to assimilate, we say deculturalize, through those efforts, our language and our culture has endured. And so I think that thing from a historical standpoint is probably one of the more important aspects of our history. All during these challenges through federal policy, my ancestors were able to preserve and to continue practicing our ways, and to preserve and practice our language. And so that has endured through a lot. I think about Oklahoma, they do a lot of promoting of their natives in that area, but a lot of those natives, sadly, are imports from other parts of the country when natives were being pushed west, and we refused to leave. And so I think that's a real important part of our culture too, is that we were absolutely insistent that we come back to our homeland. There's an evolution. Our culture continues to evolve, just like the rest of society. And through that evolution, that art and culture, when it has evolved, it's been through the lens of those who see things more contemporarily. But there's always an homage to our traditional ways that's maintained throughout our culture, our cultural practices, our language, our art. All of those things are relevant and very much always attached to who we are traditionally. I think what we're trying to do, a part of our mission, is to always have people remember who was here in the beginning of time. And when we talk about our community, our home, that's always included. Something about the Ho-Chunk is included in there. We want to be in a position where when we've told our stories, when people have had an opportunity to learn more about us, that there's a real understanding, a genuine respect, so that our relationships going forward can be that much more productive and beneficial for either of us. It's the always creative means of interpretation, from the individual artist. It's that individual artist's lens, how they see the world at that particular time, but again, always being truthful to being Ho-Chunk. That we're Ho-Chunk does not mean that we all see things the same way. And then for a Ho-Chunk artist to create and to communicate a message in his or her own way, to me is very important. I'm very proud of that, because it always comes back to our traditional ways. There's always something that speaks very, very loudly of being Ho-Chunk. For the Overture, this grand facility to invite and to have an opportunity for our people to showcase their art, to me is it's very gratifying.
I guess to me, it's helpful to define what culture is. And my definition of culture is shared values and traditions. So in terms of the Ho-Chunk people, the shared values and traditions that I'd like the Overture visitors to understand or achieve through attending this exhibit is our strong connection to our homelands, our strong connection to family, and our strong connection to this place, Daejeop. I've been fortunate to be the curator for this exhibit, and there are 15 Ho-Chunk artists that will be featured, and each one of them has their own interpretation of maintaining our cultural experience or their own cultural experience and expressing it through their art. So in some ways you might see more traditional art, such as the work of Levi and Verna Blackdeer. They've utilized some age-old techniques in terms of brain tanning of deerskin and been able to interpret those in very contemporary ways in terms of their showcase of symbols and interpreting everyday things that are in their life experience. And then we juxtapose that against a Truman Lowe piece where he's looking at the natural materials that surround us in terms of Ho-Chunk people and our traditional life ways, and then interpreting that with contemporary materials that he's had access to as a contemporary art professor. One of the things that I want the visitors to do is to really connect with a grounding experience. When they're standing in front of the individual art pieces that are on exhibit, they're standing on Ho-Chunk land. They're standing on the homeland of Ho-Chunk people that has been in our experience as a culture for thousands and thousands of years. So as the visitors experience the art and interpret the art, I'd really like them to take time and pause and focus on that grounding connection on the land on which they stand as they experience the art that they see. I guess one of the things that I'm most proud of I've been able to weave into this exhibit, and that is paying homage to two of our elders, Truman Lowe and Harry Whitehorse. Truman and Harry have made a place for themselves here in the Daejeop, the Madison area. And although they are no longer with us, they have walked on, the spirit in which they have enlightened themselves and the people around them through their art and creativity, it will live on forever. When you look at the pieces of Truman's, the diptych that we have entitled Black River, it shows not only kind of a connection for him to his home area of Black River Falls, Wisconsin, but it also shows a reflective quality. And of course, when we reflect as human beings, we have an opportunity to look both inward and examine our past and hopefully have an opportunity of looking forward into the future. And then when you look at Harry's piece, I mean, he's got such a wonderful, iconic image of the wildlife that we're all so blessed to have here in Wisconsin. But as you look closer at his piece, the appealing aspect for me as a curator is the pointillism that he weaves into the process that he's utilized in his painting. And that's what I really want the folks to kind of walk away from in terms of the exhibit, is to pay homage to our elders, those who have maybe suffered, those who have experienced things in order for us to learn and survive. Those will be in this exhibit.